3 men pushed her off a cliff and left her impaled on a tree. They went back to the house to pack their hunting gear. By the time they came back to clean up the body, she was already gone. That was their first mistake. This is what she did next. This is revenge. 2 days earlier, a helicopter drops Richard and his girlfriend Jen at his private desert house. Richard is wealthy. He is also married. His wife believes he is on a hunting trip. Jen knows about the wife. She does not care. They are here for a few days alone before Richard's friends arrive. That night, they have the house to themselves. The next morning, Jen walks to the kitchen in her underwear. Richard's 2 friends are already sitting at the table. They arrived a day early. Their names are Stan and Dimitri. Richard is annoyed. He wanted to keep Jen a secret, but they are here now, so he lets them stay. Stan cannot take his eyes off Jen from the moment he sees her. That evening, the 4 of them sit by the pool. Richard tells them about the peyote the helicopter pilot left as a gift, a powerful hallucinogenic. He says a small amount could knock out an entire football team. He tells Jen to lock it away somewhere safe. Jen puts it in her necklace instead. She goes outside and dances by the pool. Stan watches every move she makes. Richard leaves the house early. Stan finds Jen alone in the kitchen and sits close to her. Jen moves away. Stan follows her to her room. He asks why she is avoiding him. She seemed interested the night before. Jen tells him directly he is not her type and asks him to leave. Stan does not leave. Dimitri comes to the door. He sees what is happening. He walks to the living room and turns the television up loud. When Richard comes home, his 2 friends are sitting in silence. Stan tells him there was a problem with Jen, but does not say what. Richard goes to find her. Jen tells him to call the helicopter right now. She wants to go home. Richard comes back out and tells his friends off quietly. Then he goes back to Jen and tells her his friends will apologize. He puts money on the table and tells her to forget about it. Jen pushes the money away. She tells him if the helicopter does not come, she will call his wife and tell her everything. Richard's expression changes. Jen runs. Richard and both friends chase her across the desert. She reaches the edge of a cliff with nowhere to go. Richard catches up and starts talking calmly. He apologizes. He promises the helicopter is coming. He asks her to trust him. Jen starts to breathe. Richard pushes her off the cliff. She falls and hits a tree on the way down. A branch drives through her stomach. She hangs there above the desert floor while Richard and his friends stand at the top looking down. Stan and Dimitri did not expect this. Richard explains it simply. If Jen walks away, they are all looking at 15 years in prison. He is not going to let that happen. They will go back to the house, collect their hunting gear, come back when it is dark, and clean everything up. They leave. Jen hangs on the tree with ants covering her body and a branch through her stomach. She finds the lighter in her pocket. She burns the dry wood around the branch until it snaps. She drops to the ground with the branch still inside her. She hears the men's vehicle coming back down the cliffside road and starts moving. She hides just as Richard, Stan, and Dimitri reach the spot where she fell. She is not there. They search. They find her blood trail and follow it across the desert floor until it ends at a lake. They split up. Stan sits in the car. Richard and Dimitri go on foot and quad bike into the dark. Jen is already in the water. She holds her breath until Dimitri rides past on the quad bike. She pulls herself out and sees the rifle leaning against Dimitri's vehicle. She goes for it. Dimitri turns around. He talks to her calmly. He says they can work this out. Jen keeps moving toward the rifle. It is not loaded. He left it there on purpose. Jen gets her hand into his pocket and pulls his knife. She drives it into him. She leaves him in the lake and takes the quad bike. The bike runs out of fuel in the middle of the desert. Jen walks until she finds a cave. She sits down and looks at the branch still inside her stomach. She looks at the wound. She looks at the peyote in her necklace. She swallows all of it. The hallucinations come fast. She hears things, she sees things, but she cannot feel anything. She picks up the knife and cuts around the branch. Her face is completely calm. She works the branch out of her stomach and drops it on the cave floor. She heats the tin from a beer can with her lighter until the metal glows red. She presses it flat against the open wound. The skin seals shut. The bird printed on the tin brands itself into her stomach permanently. She sleeps. When she wakes up, she picks up the rifle and walks out of the cave. The journey this time is not about escaping. Stan is sitting in the Jeep when the mirror catches sunlight and throws a reflection across the desert. Jen sees it from far away. She follows it. Stan's Jeep runs out of fuel in the open desert. He gets out. Jen is already positioned with the rifle scope on him from a distance. She has never fired a weapon in her life. She pulls the trigger. The bullet hits his shoulder instead of center mass. Stan screams and runs. Jen follows the blood on the ground. Stan hides behind rocks and loads his weapon with one good arm. He fires when he sees her moving. The shot takes a piece of her ear. She keeps moving. She breaks a torch and scatters glass across the ground behind her. Stan steps on it. He pulls the glass out of his feet and gets back into the car to chase her. His foot can barely press the accelerator. He does not make it. Jen kills Stan in the open desert and picks up his radio. Richard's voice comes through immediately, calling for Stan, asking where he is, saying he is heading back to the house. Jen turns toward the house. Richard gets home. He is tired. He knows Stan is dead. He calls the helicopter pilot to come and take him out of the desert. He showers. He hears a noise and goes to check. Naked, alone, no weapon in his hands. He finds nothing. He goes back inside. Jen is already in the house. She puts the shotgun into his stomach and fires. Richard goes down but not out. He fires back from the floor and they move through the house room by room, both bleeding, both leaving trails on the tile. Richard hides behind a door and waits. Jen sees his blood running under the gap and takes a different way in. Richard wraps a food wrapper around his stomach to slow the bleeding and runs. Jen chases him through every room until she slips in the blood on the floor. Richard is on top of her immediately. Jen drives her fingers into the shotgun wound in his stomach. Richard's body gives out. She picks up the rifle. She fires. Jen walks out of the house into the desert morning. She is covered in blood from the ear to the ground. The bird brand is on her stomach. The desert stretches out in every direction around her. A helicopter appears in the distance, the pilot coming to collect Richard as arranged. Jen stands in front of the house and watches it approach. If this one stayed with you, the next video on this channel is already up.